And welcome to another edition of South Texas Crossfire. This is attorney Joe Flores reminding you to join us each and every week right here on KTMV with the Lopez family. Special thanks to Don Humberto Lozano Lopez. We honor him each and every show. He passed away last year, but he's the one who made it happen. KTMV right here on Time Warner. 200,000 viewers strong. And we also thank my good friend, Carlos Lopez, you guessed it, the Ted Turner of South Texas Broadcasting. Well, you know it's political season, it's the summer, people are campaigning hard, but also the races that a lot of people take for granted and say, what does it matter? What judge I have up there on the bench? Well, it does matter, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. So, with that in mind, we're going to be talking to a judge that has received a lot of accolades, a lot of recognition, and has been up there on the bench in numerous courts. And also as a prosecutor, we're talking about Judge Medary, 347th, right here in Nueces County. Welcome, Judge. How are you?
Joe, thank you so much.
Well, it's an honor to have you on. I've appeared in front of you numerous times, and also many of my colleagues, and what we hear are very positive things. And one of those things is you move that docket quickly. For those viewers out there who don't exactly know how the court system works, tell us a little bit about your education, training, and background as a lawyer, a jurist, and back in the day as a prosecutor.
Well, I became an attorney first of all, thank you very much for having me. I became an attorney in 1989, seems like a million years ago. At that time, I started my service, and really as public service. I was an assistant district attorney.
In Houston, right?
New Orleans first.
New Orleans
I was
first.
a prosecutor. I worked under Harry Connick in New Orleans for prosecutor and tried numerous felony cases there. It's kind of where I got my suit wet, in other words. I started there. After I started in New Orleans, then I moved to Houston, where I was an assistant district attorney as well. And
massive. Wait, I mean, man, Houston is Harris County. I went to South Texas College of Law. I got to see trials over there and everything. That is a massive docket of people.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge docket. I mean, Harris County and New Orleans. I mean, New Orleans is very, very crime-ridden, and prosecuting cases there was quite a challenge. I mean, I tried 5 capital murder cases by the time I had left there as a baby lawyer. I mean,
when you say that, you were in your 20s and early 30s cutting your teeth on these cases, capital murder, and what kind of cases did you handle as a Houston prosecutor in Harris County?
Those I did the misdemeanor and the felonies as well.
So, and who was the DA back then? A legend, wasn't it? Now, there was a
Johnny
couple.
Holmes.
Johnny Holmes was and that's the lawyer, Johnny Holmes, for the viewers out there. And I was honored to have him when he was about ready to step down. He came to talk to our class back in the late 90s in law school. And we said, what are you going to do now that you're going to retire? He said, after being a Harris County DA, anything I want.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Now, he was fun to work with. He was
nice mustache.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He backed his prosecutors up too, which was very nice. I mean, if there was a decision to be made and you had the ability to make it, I mean, there was no second guessing the prosecutors, which was really nice. I mean, to have a boss, have your back like that, it was wonderful.
Well, okay, New Orleans, major city. Harris County, Houston, major city. What made you come back and serve here in South Texas in the Coastal Bend?
We moved here 16 years ago. My husband at the time, we decided, our children were young. My son was 3 and my daughter actually was 4 months old when we moved here. And we thought, you know what, let's pick a community that we want to raise our children in and be a part of. So we have been down to Corpus many times. We had friends down here, and Corpus was it's such a wonderful city, and it's just such a great place to live that we decided to move here, and this is our home. I mean, my children know no other home besides Corpus, and so we've moved here 16 years ago. And when I moved here, I started working with Carlos Valdez, and he hired me as an assistant DA as well. So I worked with him for a couple more years, and then I was appointed to the municipal court bench, 9 years ago. And so I did that for 9 years and really enjoyed it. It was nice for me because at that stage of the game, where there are Class C misdemeanors and public intoxications and minors in possession, those kind of things.
In other words, 90% of the people.
Right. Well,
right.
And you're able to make a difference at that point. I mean, what I did over there, which is something that I'm very, very proud of, I started a specialized probation program over there, and it was really a great program for me because it was taking these kids who were not bad kids. These were great kids who were just kind of were walking on the right path, and then they kind of chose to fall off that path a little bit.
Sure.
So I kind of reached down, grabbed them, put them back up on the path, and then they wrote journals for me. It was an intense probation. I mean, I visited with them for at least an hour every week, all these different kids. So it took a lot of extra time, but it was so incredibly worth it. I mean, I've got, you know, people that graduated from my probation where now it's off their record that are, you know, in nursing school. One of them's in med school. One of them is actually thinking of going to law school. So, I mean, it was one of those, you know, wow moments as a judge for me.
Well, and as a jurist, somebody who is trying to impact the public. So what people are wondering is, you got appointed by the governor.
Yes.
Okay. Now the governor wanted you as the judge in the 347th. Nelva Gonzalez Ramos, an excellent judge, is now our federal judge. You took over her docket. What was that experience like, jumping in her shoes in the state level district court, where you're back again with capital murders, you're back again, domestic violence, gunshots? I mean, this is basically what you were used to, but now as a judge.
Right, right. It was an overwhelming experience. I mean, when I got the call from the governor's office telling me that I had gotten the appointment, actually, besides my parents and my kids, one of the first people that I called was Judge Ramos, because we had kind of been talking all the way through, and
isn't she awesome?
She is unbelievable, and I'm telling you, I mean, her shoes are huge to fill, because she is an excellent jurist. But she's so well loved over at both courthouses now, but over at the state district court where I came in. And so I immediately called her and told her that I'd gotten the appointment. And she was very sweet and was very, you know, congratulatory towards me. And at that time I asked her if she would swear me in. So I thought that was really neat, and I loved that. I mean, you know, kind of passing the baton or the gavel down to me on that bench. And she's actually been really wonderful all the way through. I mean, you know, we'll call her from time to time, especially when I first got up on the bench, and mostly to tell her that her shoes are huge, and I'm still trying to fill them. But she's been wonderful and very, very helpful all the way through.
Well, and look, a lot of people say appointments are nothing but politics. Appointments are just favors, cronyism and stuff. But really, the reality of it, as lawyers and us insiders in politics know, we as insiders, is that you have to have qualifications for them to even consider you. They go back and do a background check. Mm-hmm. They go see in how many cases you've actually tried, how many cases to verdict, as a prosecutor, as a judge. So tell us about the qualification process and the application process when you applied with the governor to get approved to be a judge.
The application was huge. I mean, it was a very, very long application. They wanted everything that you have to do with anything in your life. I mean, I at one point thought I was going to get to page 37 and they were going to ask me for my firstborn child. So no, it was a very long process. You know, when they called us in for the interviews, and there was a lot of outstanding applicants, I'm very, very honored to have received the appointment, because there were such outstanding applicants that applied. But I think when I went in for my interview, you know, I've spent my life in district court. So this is not a new thing for me. I mean, you know, in New Orleans I was in district court, in Harris County I was in district court. So district court is nothing new for me. So it was really kind of nice to be able to go back. But I think also by telling the governor's office, I mean, I've tried over 150 cases to a jury. I'm talking not even my bench trials, not even my judge trial experience, you know. In addition to that, I think I was the only applicant that had not only district court experience, but judicial experience as well.
So you had the prosecutor plus being a judge, and so when they approved, how did you get the notice that you were approved by the governor to be our judge here in the 347th?
Actually, it was kind of neat. Senator Hinojosa, Chuy Hinojosa, called me on the phone, and I just happened to, I was in municipal court, and I just happened to walk in my office, and the phone rang, and I picked it up, and usually not a lot of people have that direct number, so I had picked it up, and I said, "Hello, Judge Medary." And he said, "Judge Medary?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "This is Senator Hinojosa." And my legs kind of went out from underneath me, and I was like, "Hi, Senator." I mean, you don't really know what to say at that point, because I wasn't expecting a call from him. And he said, I've received your resume from the governor's office. He said, "I'm incredibly impressed with your resume." He said, "And they have asked me to sign off on your appointment to this district court bench." and I'd like to chat with you for a little bit. So of course I'm sitting down at this point because my legs were a little shaky, and so I started talking to him, and he's a wonderful man. I'd met him a couple times before, and just kind of told him about my background and talked to him about why I wanted to be a judge, and why I think it's important to do community service like this. And at the end of the phone call, he hung up and he said, well, I've got to go now. And I said, okay. And he said, I'm going to call the governor's office and I'm going to give my approval for your position. And so that was really the first thing. I got off the phone and I thought, well, does that mean I got it or not? So,
and that speaks miles because it was a bipartisan thing.
Yes,
absolutely. You see a lot of people out there say, well, we have Chuy Hinojosa, a strong Democrat,
yes.
outspoken.
Yes.
It stands up for Democratic party principles. And then you have, I don't think what else exemplifies the Republican principles in our state, Rick Perry.
Right.
And so you had both of these twin pillars say, A-OK.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Senator, actually, he came to my swearing in as well. I mean, I've been very, very blessed, Joe, in my position right now as a district court judge, because what I'm receiving, which is just incredibly an honor to me, is bipartisan support. At my swearing in, I looked out and there was 300 people there, and it was neat because there wasn't a Republican area, a Democratic area, and an independent area. I was looking out at people that of both sides, of both parties, that know me, know my work ethic, and were supporting me because of that.
Key members of the Texas Democratic Women were there,
yes,
I know.
Yes.
And so a lot of people from the bar were also there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've got about a couple of minutes left before we take the break, and I wanted to, when we come back, is zone in on some of the programs that you're spearheading, like the suggestion box, and there's also another exciting program that I want our viewers to know about, and we're going to be talking about it. And we're also going to be talking about the jury system.
Yes.
In Texas, and how day-to-day operations, the day in the life of Judge Missy Medary, 347th Nueces County Judge, right here, District Judge. And we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking all about that and about the criminal justice system, crime and punishment, and also about tort reform when we come back.
Each year, millions of dollars are lost to healthcare fraud. The elderly and the poor are the most vulnerable. Every day, unscrupulous healthcare providers are submitting false claims to the government's Medicaid and Medicare programs. The state and federal government are offering rewards for information leading to the successful prosecution of these cases. For more information, contact the law offices of Joe Flores. With his experience in the medical profession and as a trial lawyer, Joe Flores can provide you more information on how to fight healthcare fraud. Law offices of Joe Flores, equal justice for all.
Call River City Hospice for your loved one's care today. River City Hospice is a compassionate, patient-centered healthcare provider with a unique approach to medical care and support for people at the end of life and their families. River City Hospice focuses on maintaining dignity, increasing quality of life, and providing comfort and reducing pain due to illness. Hospice care allows your loved one to be treated with dignity and respect and gives them the right to choose. Call 882-5900 today. Hope, dignity, and love. It's got to be River City Hospice.
Hi, this is attorney and board-certified nurse practitioner Joe Flores on behalf of Vasquez Flores Home Health. Nursing homes have their place, but having care in your own home is very important. Call today for more information. Backed by over 20 years of experience, registered nurse Priscilla Vasquez can answer your questions about home care. Call 881-9922. That's 881-9922 today.
Have you been arrested or are potentially facing criminal charges? You need a trial attorney who is well-versed in the courtroom. Joe Flores has handled hundreds of criminal cases and many of them to trial. Joe Flores can provide you with competent representation to protect your constitutional rights in state and federal court. Joe Flores can help if you have been arrested or facing criminal charges. The law offices of Joe Flores, equal justice for all.